History of my oldest ancestors of whom I am very proud descend. June 15, 923, dies in the Battle of Soissons, Robert I, King of the Franks, Count of Paris, Marquis of Neustria, Count of Anjou, my 34th grandfather, 13 times my grandfather. Robert I was the grandfather of Hugo Capet, King of the Franks, founder of the Capetingian dynasty, and 8th grandfather of Dom Afonso III, King of Portugal, my 25th and 26th grandfather. Battle of Soissons. The Battle of Soissons was a major battle between the two great armies of France, each led by a king. On the one hand, Charles III the Simple, and on the other, a king elected by the notables of West Francia, Robert I, brother of the previous elected King Eudo I. The battle was very violent. The intensity of the conflict and the scale of the troops engaged attest to the long preparation for this war by the sovereign power of France. The battle was lost by Charles the Simple and the defeat turned into a disorganized retreat. Robert I, King of the Franks, died in this battle and was buried in the Abbey of St. Columb founded by the Frankish King Clotaire II in 620. The monastery was destroyed during the French Revolution. In 1842 the crypt was located, and in 1853 excavations located several graves. None of them can be attributed to Roberto I. The King of the Franks, Robert I, is killed, and King Charles III, the Simple, is arrested by the supporters of Duke Rudolph of Burgundy. The Battle of Soissons was fought on Sunday, June 15, 923, between an alliance of Frankish noble insurgents, led by Robert I, elected king, against an army composed of Lotharingian, Norman and Carolingian forces under the command of King Charles III. The battle took place at Soissons, near Aisen. Robert was killed, but his army won the battle. Charles was arrested by Herbert II of Amandois and held captive until his death in 929. Rudolph, Duke of Burgundy, Robert's son-in-law, succeeded him as ruler of West Francia. Robert I, King of the Franks, Count of Paris, Marquis of Neustria, Count Anjou was born on August 15, 866 and died at the Battle of Soissons on June 15, 923. He was the son of Robert the Strong, Marquis of Neustria, Count Anjou and Emma of Auxerre, paternal grandson of Guido, Count of Maine and Oder, and maternal grandson of Conrad I of Auxerre and Adelaide of Tours. Robert I was elected King of West Francia in 922. Youngest son of Robert the Strong, Count of Anjou, Marquis of Neustria and Emma of Auxerre, youngest daughter of Count Conrad I of Auxerre and Adelaide of Tours, was a grandfather by Hugo Capeto. He was his brother Eudo's representative in several counties, including the county of Paris, superior abbot of many abbeys, and Duke of the Franks, a military dignity of high importance. He did not claim the crown of France when his brother, Eudo, died in 898, but, recognizing the supremacy of the Carolingian king, Charles III, King of France, my 35th grandfather, 8 times my grandfather, had his territorial possessions confirmed, and then continued to defend northern France from Norman attacks. The peace between the king and his powerful vassal was not seriously disturbed until approximately the year 921. Carlos' actions, and, in particular, his partiality in favor of a certain Hagano, aroused some unpopularity in him and, supported by many clerics and several of the most powerful French nobles, Robert had himself crowned King of the Franks in Reims, on June 29, 922. Commanding a powerful army, Charles III, King of France, marched to meet the usurper, and on June 15, 923, in a bloodthirsty battle near Soissons, Robert was killed, according to tradition, in combat with his rival. Robert first left a son, Hugo the Great, Duke of France, Count of Paris, and his grandson, Hugo Capet, future King of the Franks and founder of the Capetingian dynasty. Family and descent of Robert I, King of the Franks, Count of Paris, Marquis of Neustria, Count Anjou. Roberto first married Adele de Perthois, from whom he had Lutegarda, or Adela, of France, married to Herberto II de Vermandois, Count of Vermandois. The second marriage was to Beatrice de Vermandois, my 34th grandmother, 13 times my grandmother, daughter of Herberto II, Count of Vermandois, great-great-grandson of Emperor Charlemagne, and from whom he had Hugh the Great, Duke of the Franks, Count of Paris, my 33rd grandfather, 13 times my grandfather, married to Judith du Maine, and then to Adelaide of England, and finally married to Hedwig of Saxony, my 33rd grandmother, 13 times my grandmother. Emma of France, married to Raoul of Burgundy, King of the Franks. Hildebrand of France,